What it do, baby? We are officially less than 24 hours away from the start of the 2019 NBA season. And This is one of your four hosts, very excited. We are also very live on very different camera angles, which is awesome to do and awesome to...
Well, it's not live. We're not streaming.
But we will be
soon.
One day.
Soon.
It's awesome.
Who are you again?
I'm Tradedy_19. That's where you can find me on Twitter. It's still Maple Jordan season. I told Marcell in the car we're going to give it 20 games because he did not look good in preseason.
We'll see. Yo. This is another one of your hosts, Marcell, a.k.a. Styles_Rapist Life. It's Cat MVP season. I'm not saying that's going to be my prediction that we'll talk about later in the show, but hey, I'm just letting you know that man's going to be a monster this year. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
Yo, Jake the rookie, and with Zion out 6 to 8, it's looking like I got this rookie of the year in the bag.
Oh, he's calling it now.
I may be with you.
Bet on Jake.
There we go, and last but not least, it is Will at Tresdon, and make sure you guys check out the socials across the plane, Instagram and Twitter. We got lots of polls up, so check those out, guys.
Alrighty, so
welcome back.
It is a fantastic time of year in the sports world. We have football.
Ooh.
We have basketball.
Yes.
And we have the World Series.
And playoff soccer.
And playoff soccer if you're a soccer fan.
Great
but,
time
we live in
fan.
America.
And NHL if you're into that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the thing, too. But, yeah, so Yankees lose a heartbreaker, Game 6.
Heartbreaker. I think that was very justifiable.
I mean, yeah, we think so as Twins fans, but Kat did not think too highly of that game.
Gersons loved it.
But listen, I loved it too. Shout out to Houston.
Yep.
They definitely earned it. They were definitely the best team in the AL this year.
Absolutely.
It was two great baseball players up head to head, and Altuve came out on top.
It really was. It was a good battle.
Legendary closer and legendary Hall of Famer and future Hall of Famer and Jose Altuve.
Already. Did you guys see the little clip of James Harden and Russell Westbrook there dodging the fastball? That was high and outside. That was pretty funny.
And then shout out to the Washington Nationals.
Ooh,
coming out of nowhere, beating the Dodgers and then going on to – they swept the Cardinals, correct? Yeah, they swept the Cardinals.
Even Cardinals fans knew they were going to get swept. I have a couple buddies that are Cardinals fans, and they were like, yep.
It was a fun run.
It was cool to get here.
Not much farther than that.
I just think it goes to show how pitching is just so important.
Twins.
What? Who said that?
I'm sorry. I had a little cough. So, yeah, here we are. We have the Washington Nationals versus the Houston Astros. It will go first two games are in Houston. Then game 3, 4, and 5 will be in Washington. And then it wraps up, if necessary, in game 6 and 7 back in Houston.
I think it'll be 5 games, Houston and 5. I think their pitching is just far superior than Washington's. They'll be close games because Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg are still good pitchers, and they're going games 1 and 2 for Washington. And I think they'll be good, close, competitive games, but Houston's just got way too much firepower compared to Washington's.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with you. I'm also going to pick Houston at 5. Now, then again, I do not know much about either team. So if Washington were to come in and beat them, I'm not going to act like, wow, that was like the greatest upset ever because I just don't know much about the Washington Nationals team. It's actually funny. Went to 2 Twins games this year, and one of them was against the Nationals. They lost that game. But I'm also going to say Houston 5 because I know Houston's pitching is just absolutely fantastic, and I just think they have the lineup that's going to be able to get hits. Now, then again, I think Washington also has a very good lineup, especially Ryan Zimmerman, which is literally the only player on the team. Oh, and Brian Dozier.
Anthony Rendon and Juan Soto. They're both really good fielders and batters.
Well, yeah, they have a really solid lineup, but I just think Houston is going to be the Goliath here, so I'm taking them in 5.
I'm going to go Houston, but I think it'll be more games than that. I think it'll go all 7.
I like that.
But it's just it's a thing in baseball. It's not always the number one team going in, and it's usually a wild card team going all the way. Not usually, but there's a lot of instances where it's a wild card. You just get hot. And baseball is a game where if
everyone's cooking, you're cooking. You know, that's exactly what they did and beat the Dodgers.
Yep. Everyone was hitting at the right times, clutch hitting.
That grand slam by Howie Kendricks, clutch.
I'm going to have to disagree with all you guys and go Nationals in 7.
Hey, I'm rooting for you.
Absolutely.
What?
I think they get their first ever World Series here.
So that means the Capitals and the Nationals will both bring championships.
Good year.
Unless you're, what are we calling them? The Whiteskins?
The Suckskins. Will hates that name.
I don't know. I don't like that name.
But yeah, it's amazing that the city of Washington, D.C. might get a World Series championship and a Stanley Cup, but their basketball and football team are both just horrible.
It could happen.
Unless someone has the Wizards as a dark horse to make the playoffs. Ooh, stay tuned. So yeah.
Nationals in 7. You heard it here first.
I mean, shout out Brian Dozier, shout out Kurt Suzuki, shout out just the Washington area for keeping like the Senators' history relevant down there, because
plus
that's Twins history too, and they beat the Dodgers.
They beat the Dodgers.
So,
but then again, Astros beat the Yankees, so I'm like happy for both of them. Honestly,
I've got some hot takes, Will, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. That's a hot take.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I think it's going more than 5 games for sure. I think they'll be low-scoring, close games. Mm-hmm. It's going to be battles of pitching. And
hey, if you're a betting man, go put that one in.
Yeah.
That's a good bet, honestly.
Like that one guy in Houston, the mattress store owner.
That bet's still good right now.
Yeah, that bet's still good. Yeah. It's like $35 million on the Astros to win it all, and. Like if he loses it, he still makes like a couple $1 million somehow, some way.
Maybe that's why they'll lose.
Honestly, for him.
Yeah. All right.
Fun time for baseball.
All right, so what's going on in local sports now?
So I actually went to the Loons' disappointing playoff match last night. 2-1 loss to LAFC. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. LA Galaxy. Thank you. Yeah, they play LAFC next.
On Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a fun game.
El Trafico.
Mm-hmm. That'll be pretty sweet. Can't lie. But it's funny because Zlatan Ibrahimovic, easily their best player, was just absolutely a non-factor at all. You know, he got one shot on net and it was wide right. Michael Boxall, who just got a contract extension today, our defender. He's a defender. So that was nice to see. And, yeah, everybody just looked slow, not ready to play, flat-footed. Balls weren't being driven with force behind it and power. And everything just kind of fell short. And the last goal came, obviously, way too late. You know, we had plenty of opportunities. We probably had 5 or 6 corners, set pieces, 2 or 3 free kicks within striking distance, too. But it just didn't fall our way. That's really how it felt the whole night. But just an absolutely amazing experience. It was great to see. This was the goal that was set out 3 years ago when Minnesota United moved to MLS. Is, you know, we're going to put this team together our way, and in 3 years we have to make the playoffs or bust, because they already got the deal to build the stadium out in St. Paul. So if you weren't playing playoff soccer, regardless, in that stadium within that 3 years, it would have been considered a failed MLS team. You know, that's what it would really be. And so it was good to see. And being there for 5 or 6 matches this year was sweet too.
It's from what it seems like, it's a great atmosphere, and it's great for Minnesota sports. It's another team making the playoffs. I mean, that's always good. And it seems like it's a different group of fans that go to the soccer games from what I've seen and experienced, and
they ride for them too. Like I've seen flags, apparel. They have.
It's a hardcore group of fans. Yeah. It's really cool.
It is. It's extremely diverse too, and it's the soccer culture. You just got to go to a match. Yeah. It's just a totally different environment than compared to football, baseball, basketball, hockey. If you've gone,
it's exciting that we have a promising team, and hopefully we can build off this loss. I mean, it's you got to test the waters of the playoffs. LA Galaxy, they're one of the longest MLS teams, and. You know,
so you probably watched more than us. So looking forward, do you think Is this a playoff team next year?
Yes, but there's a couple moves that we need to do because we experimented with this player from South America named Angelo Rodriguez, who really can't do much in soccer besides post up. Like, imagine you're driving the ball downfield, and he just goes and truly posts up on a defender, and they get the ball into him, and one pass to somebody else, and that's it. That's all he would do. You know, he had a strong leg to, get some good shots on, but could never create space for himself. He had no finesse, no skill move whatsoever.
So he just seemed lazy?
Yeah, well, he's one-dimensional.
Okay.
He couldn't do anything else.
Then again, you are a major Minnesota homer, so I can only take your word with a grain of salt.
Yeah. What?
I'm just playing with you. Speaking of Minnesota, Minnesota Golden Gophers are now 7-0.
Yep.
Another week.
And they have moved up to 17 in the AP poll and 16 in the coaches poll. They go to Maryland next week. Personally, I just think if they win that game, the crowd,
And they get a 2-week.
they got a 2-week break. The crowd here is going to be crazy when Penn State comes here. I hope Penn State comes in undefeated too.
Is it a away game at Maryland?
Yeah, it's at Maryland.
Okay, it's gonna be harder, but I think we got it.
I mean, they've been doing very well against teams. They're at the point where they're beating teams that they should, and so I think they're going to go in. I think they're going to handle Maryland and take that break. And man, that Penn State game is going to be so crazy.
The bank's going to be rocking. I may mess around and see if I can get tickets.
And that Wisconsin team just lost.
Woo,
man, that's tough.
You love to see it.
You really do.
So yeah, shout out to the Gophers 7-0. We hope you get to 8-0 next week, and then we'll be getting ready for Penn State.
Getting ready for Penn State. That'll probably get bumped to Saturday night.
Yeah, I can see that.
Game day will probably come here.
Ooh,
would you guys?
Hey, game day, come holler at us, man. We'll come do a show with you.
Seriously.
Come to Minnesota. Well, we got to beat Maryland first.
That's an off-air topic.
Yeah, I'll call in for you. Don't worry.
Seriously.
Still, it hurt from my car accident.
Glad you're Gucci, though.
All right, and then from college football, we can talk a little bit about some NFL games that happen. We're going to keep it nice and short tonight and just talk about the favorite teams at the group. We can start with that horrible Saints-Bears game that happened over the weekend. One, I am not upset at the defense for giving up 36 points. Like, man, they were on the field so much. You cannot be on the field that much against a Saints team, a really good Saints team. Or against teams like the Saints, Chiefs, Patriots, they're going to carve up any defense if you give them the opportunity. So I was very disappointed in the Bears offense. There's a lot of people who are upset with Matt Nagy's play calling. I am not one of them. Mr. Trubisky there's just simple throws he does not make, and he has to start making them.
Yeah,
I agree.
I saw a tweet saying he now leads the league, and he should have made that throws.
And what's crazy is that the reason why he doesn't turn the ball over a lot is because he misses them so bad. It's like he's so nervous about turning the ball over. He'd rather just miss them long or miss them wide than just actually make the correct throw. Now, him and Allen Robinson have just some crazy chemistry. Those two are having no problem finding each other. He cannot get in rhythm with anyone else, though. Also, the running game, I blame mostly the offensive line. The offensive line has done actually a pretty good job in pass protection, but they have just not been able to create holes for the running game. So they're 3-3. They started 3-3 last year. At this point last year, they were fourth in the division. Their next 6 games are against some of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. They play Lions twice, Eagles, and the Giants. And then next week they play the Chargers at home. So at least go in and win 4 of your next 6 games, and then let's get into week. And then the final 4 weeks, you got Cowboys at Green Bay, Kansas City at home, and then at Minnesota. And we'll just ride it out from there.
Be a tough go of things in that final month as well for the Vikings.
Embarrassment. Leave Matt Nagy alone, man.
He's good.
He does not deserve any.
You covered that really well. I'm gonna say that's what I saw of the game too. The Bears couldn't generate pass rush because they're just too tired, and
I mean, pretty much through the first 2 quarters they were fine. Saints got a short field multiple times through the fumbles.
Yeah, it's just
and a block punt.
A bunch of third and outs. It's just
Yeah, I mean, I think my takeaways was the Bears are going to be severely limited as long as they have Mitchell Trubisky as their quarterback. They're just
such a shame.
You know, and it's one of those things where there are throws that he needs to make as a quarterback in the NFL. And you look at players like Lamar Jackson, who he can make requisite throws that you need to make, but I just don't think Trubisky can quite do that. Other things, Saints.
The thing is,
I think
could he? I think he can.
The problem is he can't. I think he's so nervous to turning the ball over.
That's what I think it is with most of these quarterbacks is a mental thing. Because we all know they're good enough to be starting NFL quarterbacks. They can make the throw.
I don't think he has. I just don't think he has it. I think you look at players I think he has a backup level talent, and that's just my opinion. When you look at players on the other side of the ball, you look at the Saints team. I think we have to start looking at them as the best team in the NFL right now. Teddy Bridgewater.
I say NFC.
NFC.
New England.
Have you met Tom Brady?
Yeah, New England. New England's defense is absolutely ridiculous.
We've got to start looking at the Saints, though. I think you got to start giving respect. They get Drew Brees back, and I think they're the clear cut, if not one, number two.
They have one of the most effective offensive play calls, I'll say. They really
Sean Payton's underrated.
Spread the ball around and move the chains.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same with the Patriots. They have great coaching.
Spread the ball more around.
Absolutely.
And move the
and they have a way that wins games. The Saints also have a great defense. Very underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. I was telling my dad this because he kept telling me, he kept saying during the game that I could only imagine like how bad this game would be if Drew Brees was playing. I'm like, it'd be the exact same game. Their game does not change. Teddy Bridgewater is the perfect backup quarterback to have on that team.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Teddy Bridgewater is in for a big contract. Shouts out to Teddy Bridgewater taking a chance on himself.
He was from a shattered kneecap.
Yeah, I mean, he was in line last year to get a big contract from Miami and compete for that starting job when he chose to back up Drew Brees. And now he's going to get paid next year, and I think he's going to be a starting quarterback on a different team next year.
You think Brees is done after this year just with the injury?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I think him and Brady are competing for the yards crown.
Oh, yeah.
Brady right now has a 6 touchdown lead all time because Drew Brees has been
hurt. I think they're going to stick it out a little while. And Drew Brees is a couple years younger than Brady, so I think Drew Brees plays a while. But, yeah, I really like Teddy Bridgewater for next year as a starting quarterback of a team that's looking for one. I mean, who knows? Denver, exactly. There's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that will do it, you know.
All right. And speaking of teams that pay a lot for a quarterback.
How about Teddy's former team?
How about a quarterback making those throws that a starting quarterback needs to make?
I know. Congrats to the Vikings, man. I'm proud of y'all. Y'all are 5-2.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
Washington
crazy.
Suckskins Thursday night. Short
week.
Man.
Yeah, you should go. You should go 7-2. You got the Chiefs.
I know, and then we
Mahomes.
go to the Chiefs or Kansas City on 10-day rest, and then Jerry World, which could be a shit show. Pardon my language.
That I'm really looking at as a true test of our team is Sunday night at Jerry World.
Yeah.
If we win that game, I mean,
it's lining up. There's no reason why you can't go into Dallas and just beat up on that team. Period.
I'm worried about Xavier Rhodes.
I am too,
and Amari Cooper. That's a matchup that
I'm not looking forward to that either. But we'll see.
So is Xavier Rhodes just washed now?
I don't know.
He's just not consistent.
He's not
as
physical
consistent
as he used to be, and that used to be a lot. These
new PIs and the ability to challenge pass interference is messing with, I would feel, some cornerbacks' heads. Imagine the ones that are a little more aggressive too. But there's no reason why the Vikings can't go in there, ride this momentum of winning potentially 5 straight before going into Dallas.
Yeah, we have a very favorable schedule.
Honestly, the entire NFC North does.
Right we got.
That's what's the problem.
I'm going to say we got lucky.
You're not wrong. And those divisional games coming up are going to be huge.
It's a bummer about the Patrick Mahomes injury, but we do get to play the Chiefs with Matt Moore as our starting quarterback, which is a whole different game than playing the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes as their starting quarterback. So,
shout out to Marvin Jones for having a 4 touchdown game.
Second 4 touchdown game in his career, actually.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones is an underrated wide receiver.
Also, shout out to Matthew Stafford, the fastest quarterback to 40,000 yards passing.
Yeah.
I remember
Why
time he had the
can't-
4-touchdown game, I started him in fantasy. It was like week 2.
So real quick before we move on to basketball, why can I just not like Matthew Stafford?
Because all he has are stats.
I must be it.
He's Matthew
like
Stafford.
I know he's a good quarterback,
All right,
but
is
I
part
just
of it because he looks kind of like a frat boy?
He is a frat
he
boy.
Is that kind of it?
His wife is
Right?
blonde
Is there
hair,
something
blue
that's
eye,
too?
yeah.
Is that just me?
I mean,
We do not
there's
discriminate
definitely
beyond
there's
personal
definitely a
points.
case for Aaron Rodgers for part of the reason why I don't like him. He just looks like a douchebag.
I don't
but-
dislike him, but I actually like him because he be giving us all the wins. It's good.
So yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins, back-to-back games of 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's 3 games in a row of 250 yards passing.
Yeah,
and 3 touchdowns.
Stephon Diggs has reappeared. Thielen had
no more
Yeah,
apologies.
Thielen came out of that game. He had 1 catch. Came out of that game with an injury. He said he was going to play. I don't think we should risk it.
No, he's not playing.
He's
Yeah,
not
we
playing.
Can't, we
It's
reported
Thursday.
today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the
Thursday.
Red.
There's no
and it's the
reason to play him.
Redskins.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Marcell.
There's no reason
So-
to play him.
But if you do play fantasy football next week,
Yeah, that
BZ
hurts.
Johnson,
Yeah,
if you are
seriously.
really in need.
waiver
look
wire
Yeah, 'cause,
pickups.
I mean,
Yeah,
And
that-
Irv Smith at tight end, he's
That
gonna be coming
Redskins
up as
secondary
well.
can't stop anybody.
no.
So does Kirk? Does Kirk have a
Josh.
big game on a Thursday night?
I
Another
think
one?
he's gonna shred them.
You
Honestly.
think he's
gonna
I
shred
think he's
them?
gonna shred them.
Yeah.
This is coming from someone who does not like Kirk Cousins. I think he's gonna
You know,
go out there and just.
The recipe for a Kirk Cousins big game is playing a team with a bad secondary and having really good play action options.
And it's your former team
Yeah,
that
that's-
refused to give you a long-term contract.
He
It
has
just sounds like a
every
big Kirk
reason
Cousins
to.
game.
On the
If
prime
only it
time.
was a Sunday at noon game, then he'd really torch him.
No, this is
600
even-
yards.
This is even more glorious because it's on like a primetime game.
I know no one's gonna recognize it because it's the Redskins.
Oh yeah,
I
I know.
guarantee it.
Oh,
No.
I'm not disputing that at
I
all.
don't know. I feel like Kirk Cousins gets nervous on national television.
God, that would be horrible if he just goes out there and plays bad. Like that would be. I think that'd be Buffalo Bills game last year.
You know it's scary because I've seen on Vikings Twitter because the spread came out today. It's a -15. That was the spread for the Buffalo Bills game last
I
year.
thought it was
And,
17.
I think it was 15 because
It was around that.
That's all right.
yeah, but it was the same as the Bills one, and Vikings Twitter was like,
All right, our defense is the
is
one that
anyone-
got torched in that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that was definitely the biggest downside of that game was, I mean, yeah, we just
not
got
losing
cooked.
Thielen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Case Keenum returns. Oh, he just shreds the Vikings defense.
Yeah, I was
450
just
yards.
gonna say, is anyone looking at it as a Case Keenum returns game? I mean,
No.
does he have any
I mean,
animosity
Kirk
for the Vikings?
Cousins,
I mean,
Is-
he'll be comfortable playing there.
Does
the
he
crowd's
go-
not going to
It's
affect
at
him.
home. That's the thing. That's why it's not a case.
Does he go into that game thinking he's got to show why the Vikings should have stuck with him?
I'd put more money on Adrian Peterson coming
I
out.
mean,
and
I
having
feel
a
like both
250 yard
quarterbacks
rushing,
might have that
2-touchdown
little
game.
chip on the shoulders but each team did not stick with the quarterback.
That's very
Redskins
true.
did not want to pay
Should've
Kirk
just traded.
Cousins, and
Should just made a trade.
yeah,
Wait.
I mean,
What's that noise you guys hear?
we couldn't because Kirk Cousins was a free agent.
Is that the sound of
NBA
Bang by
basketball.
Mike Breen?
No.
Bang!
It's TNT tomorrow, so no.
I know.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, NBA basketball is back officially tomorrow.
Ooh.
It is a true El Trafico game tomorrow, so let's be real here.
Wow, what a weekend, man! LA, what a weekend in LA. Or
Absolutely.
Week.
We got the World Series tomorrow. We got NBA basketball tomorrow. We're starting off with Toronto Raptors versus New Orleans Pelicans.
No
Huge
Zion.
bummer that we're
No
missing
Zion.
Zion 6 to 8 weeks with a torn meniscus.
Mm-hmm.
I went on Twitter, and I know this was trending for me, but a lot of people were just Zion Williamson is Greg Oden. I'm like, relax, guys.
What?
There have been so many players
So-
that have missed early time. I mean, let's look at
So-
Joel Embiid and
I'm going to be complete. I don't think he's Greg Oden. However, I don't think he plays more than 35 games this year.
no, maybe not. You
Ooh,
might be
I
right.
agree.
I would not be surprised. And and everyone will panic. Oh my God, he's injury prone. No, I think Pelicans are going to be super.
Err on the cautious
They're
side.
going to be very cautious with him. I mean, they have They have the young assets that they can be patient.
Will they be Joel Embiid cautious?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. No, I don't. In his first year, yes.
I don't think they need to be because Joel Embiid had foot and back injuries, which are a lot different than knee injuries, I think.
Oh, yeah.
They should be Joel Embiid cautious just because they're in the same situation. They're not going to make the playoffs in the West. Maybe with Zion, if they are still in contention, maybe.
I just don't think
it, but I don't think you risk it just because you're not in championship contention at the moment.
I don't think Zion misses 3 seasons though. We didn't see Joel Embiid play for 3 seasons.
Yeah, but trust the process. Right now, I see them as a NBA Eastern Conference champ, maybe even finals champ.
They're in the West.
No, I'm talking about the Sixers. I'm saying trust the process. So they held Embiid out. He's been way better. He's been able to actually maintain a career.
I just don't see that. But he could miss.
I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with erring on the side of caution if you're not in championship contention.
I don't think
that's the goal.
But I agree with I don't think it'll be a 3
want
year.
Zion to dunk the ball.
It's not a 3 year hiatus for Zion like we see with Joel Embiid though.
That's true.
I don't think. But yes, I do think they err on the cautious side with Zion. I think that's what we're going to see here. I think it's going to be on the closer side to 8 weeks. But I think Pelicans are going to be a fun team this year. They're going to be a good team.
Yeah, they'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, they'll be fun.
So they were my honorable mention until the Zion news, and I had to take them out. And I still haven't really decided who I'm going to put there in the West. But let's get started.
Yeah, I only did top 8. My bad.
You suck. Get out.
I know. I'll just leave right now.
All right, but let's start. Let's start in the East. Let's go East.
Okay, so
number 1 in the East. Who y'all got?
Philly.
Philly? I can't ride like that, man.
I mean, just because who else in the East? That was just kind of my cop-out.
I'm going to go Milwaukee.
I also went Milwaukee.
Man, that's why. I don't even have them in my top 8. Wow.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
You watch basketball?
Honestly.
Have you heard this guy named Giannis?
He's even my MVP
last
too.
year.
Jeez.
He's your MVP, and they missed the playoffs.
Missed the playoffs. Incredible.
You wilder.
I am.
So, yeah, I agree with you, Jake. I went with Milwaukee, too. I think they're going to run it back. I think Giannis going to take it to another level.
Do you think he shoots more threes?
No, I don't think he needs to.
No, but I think he does more on the defensive end this year.
He does do a lot on the defensive end.
I have the Sixers as my number 1 seed in the East.
Their spacing is just not good.
I think everyone's too worried about the spacing, just like the Bucks. People worried about the Bucks last year. They're saying, "Oh, Chris Middleton's the only one that can shoot for them."
They have a lot of 3-point shooters. Brook Lopez shot the most threes.
But that's what people are saying about it coming into it. Ilyasova, doesn't really see time.
But they actually shoot threes.
But they changed the narrative. Coming into the season, people were like, "The Bucks aren't going to," you know what I'm saying? So I think Horford surprises people at how well he can shoot threes, just like Brook Lopez surprised people at how well he can shoot threes.
Al Horford is probably their best 3-point shooter.
Ben Harris. Simmons made a 3 in preseason. Thank you very much.
He's shooting 100%.
Tobias Harris was a very efficient 3-point shooter last year. Shot close to 40%. I think Josh Richardson has a chance to be a very good player for that team. He has a big role coming for him.
On the defensive end.
I really like that team. They're going to be long. They're going to be hard to. They're going to be hard to score against. They have good players, good offensive players. They're well coached. And I think they surprised a lot of people this year.
I'm high. They're my number 2 team. By the way,
I agree. I have them at 2.
Al Horford shot 36% from 3 last year on 3 attempts per game, but the year before he shot 43% on also 3 a game. So
they're going to be hard to score against. I'll show them that.
Yeah, they're my number 2 seed. I still think Milwaukee would be a little better than them. I still kind of I think Milwaukee's roster is deeper. So, and I think. And plus, Joel Embiid, you just never know how many games he's going to play.
It's true.
So that's my – but I think, I definitely think they're going to be good, and they're my number 2 team.
Also, Josh Richardson shot 35% from 3, which was a drop-off from the year before. But he also shot 2 more threes, but only made 0.4 more threes.
Yeah, and
I think he'll take even more threes this year.
Because he'll be forced to.
Yeah. Zaire Smith has a chance.
He'll be playing the 2 instead of the 3, I feel like.
Yeah, he'll play a lot of 2.
Zaire Smith has a chance to be in a big role. And also they signed Trey Burke. Trey Burke is a very explosive player for the Knicks last year. And
Fun fact.
Yeah, I mean, he could definitely be a very good six-man for him. I think the 76ers are going to surprise a lot of people.
Fun fact, Trey Burke was drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Absolutely.
So who you guys have at the 2 seed then?
I have Philly, though.
I have Philly.
So you're going Milwaukee 1, Philly 2.
Yes.
All right, and then
I have Boston, too.
Boston.
Mhm.
Boston.
I think Kemba plays very well in the Brad Stevens systems.
I agree.
I think Boston's a very good regular season team this year.
I like that. I like how you said that.
Is
Yeah.
Jason Tatum still 19?
Probably.
Yeah, I think he's
Is
probably-
Jaylen Brown worth the max extension?
Is Jaylen
Yeah,
Brown
I
a
guess
max
we'll
contract
find
player?
out.
We
Yeah.
will see.
Yeah. This is the year we
There's a
find
lot.
out.
There's a lot of people who see him as a very good 3-and-D player.
I could see it.
But
I could
is
see
a
it too.
3-and-D player worth the max contract.
Well, I mean, it's Andrew Wiggins worth the max contract.
Yeah, and plus in this modern
No.
NBA, a lot of 3-and-D is more
Yeah,
super
that's-
valued. Like
that's
Robert
what you
Covington
want.
will probably get cashed out wherever he resigns.
Who?
Resigns. Rocco.
Well, he'll be
Oh.
old at the end of his
He's
deal.
kind of
Yeah.
already locked, in for a while.
He's got 3 or 4 more years.
He do, which will
Shout
be nice.
out. So actually, I have Boston at 3. I agree with you. I think Boston would be a very good regular season team. It's going to be very interesting to see the transition from Kyrie to Kemba because I think they're relatively similar players, even though Kyrie is more talented. But I think subtracting Kyrie, honestly, I think he used this word too, energy. Subtracting his energy and replacing it with Kemba is going to be really good for like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Absolutely.
They're
Cohesion.
gonna get destroyed in the paint though, Enes Kanter.
Yes,
down
they
there.
will.
So that's gonna be an issue for them. Their interior defense. Who is their backup center even? Because Baines is gone.
Daniel Tice,
Yeah.
Taco Fall.
Oh,
Yeah,
Taco.
did he officially make the roster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He officially made it.
Yeah,
he
he
made
was,
cuts today. That's what's
So
up.
yeah, I mean, I think Kyrie's kind of the perfect player for that team. He's kind of a less drama, less media hyped Kyrie for that team, and I think that's what the team needs. And
Oh, yeah, they just
I
need
think
more
that was
players.
just a big problem for the Celtics. The young players didn't know how to deal with that big talent, that big personality of Kyrie. Brought in a lot of attention for that Celtics team.
I mean, right away before the season started, he was talking to the fans.
Absolutely.
Like, I may just plan on resigning with my new team.
Actually,
Everybody's going nuts.
They ended up waiving Taco Fall.
Oh, really?
Oh,
They're a concussion protocol. So.
Oh, wow, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
In concussion protocol.
Yeah, Carson Edwards, watch out, explosive player.
True.
Well, I mean, it was
can get
against
buckets.
Cleveland.
But I also have Boston as my third.
Yeah.
Boston is my
So who's?
Yeah.
5.
So that brings me. I have Bucks at the third.
So you have Bucks at 3. Who do you have at 3? Why are you so low on Milwaukee?
I'm not low on Milwaukee. I'd say I'm just higher on Boston and Sixers. I'm really high on the Sixers this year. I think Al Horford's just like kind of that winning piece that they needed. And
That's who the Celtics are going to miss in the playoffs, especially.
Al Horford.
yeah,
I agree.
I agree they'll miss him in the playoffs, absolutely. But regular season, I think Celtics just win a
No,
lot
I
of
agree.
games.
They have enough talent to,
Oh.
that's what I have them in my 3. So,
Yeah.
My 3 is Brooklyn, by the way. Sorry.
Man,
I have
you know,
4, so.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I don't know how many games Kyrie's gonna play. I think that's my
very true.
biggest.
But also, I think,
but they're still a deep team.
yeah, they're a very deep team. They've built a very good culture there, too. And I think that culture really kind of transcends a lot of their players on the bench.
And
too.
watch out for when Durant comes back in the playoffs.
I don't think he's gonna
I don't
play
think
at
he'll
all
come
this
back
year.
for
You
the
don't think
playoffs.
he will?
No.
So yeah,
There's no need. They tried doing that last year with this injury.
yeah.
Just come back 1,000%. Get a whole summer off too.
Will you ever be 1,000% after that?
I don't
mean,
think so.
People think LeBron's coming back 1,000%.
He is.
I mean, he didn't play it all last year, and all
Well,
of a sudden
he
he's the
played
number
55 games.
But all of a sudden he's the best player. This is a topic for.
I mean, we're
for
gonna get to
another
the
day.
West, so don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
4. Who's your 4? Well, my 4
So-
is Toronto. Sorry.
Toronto, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're still really high on Toronto. My 4 is the Jimmy Butler led Miami Heat.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get interesting as the 4 seed.
I'm really high on Miami.
Yeah.
Really the only thing that's concerning for me is whether or not Jimmy Butler stays healthy.
True.
If he plays let's say 75+ games, I think they're a top 4 team in the East. I think he is that good.
General soreness.
I mean, yeah, he might sit out some games. I think and again, for a guy who wanted to win, it's really weird he picked Miami. But, that, again, a conversation for a different day. But I definitely love Jimmy Butler's talent, and I definitely love him as a on the court leader. So when you're when you're in the game with him, I would love to have him on the floor.
You can follow him.
Off court, that's a totally different story. On court, though, I totally would not mind Jimmy Butler leading the team. Who's y'all at 4?
4, I have Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
I'm not as high on the Heat unless they get a
Chris
deal
Paul?
done. Yeah, I was thinking a Chris Paul deal, but maybe somebody else, Sabonis.
He just re-upped on a 4-year max.
4 years, $79 million.
Was
Who?
it 79? Demonis Sabonis.
So actually, to my 4 seed, I have the Indiana Pacers. I love that roster. I really like that team. Miles Turner, Sabonis, Oladipo. They have a lot of good players.
77 mil.
Yeah. So I have Indiana at my number 4 seed. I think they surprised a lot of players just as they did the year before.
I'm just not high on Indiana. I think they're gonna miss Victor Oladipo a little more this year.
I agree.
And
although they were
even though I do like the Brogdon addition, I have them making the playoffs, but I don't have them as high. I think they're just more talented teams in the East than Indiana Pacers,
which is respectable. Which brings me to my 5, Boston.
So you're just not high on Boston?
So it's not necessarily I'm high on Boston. I like the cohesion and what they did in exchanging Kemba for Kyrie, essentially. But I think the East is going to be a little bit more competitive, like how it has been the last couple of years. A lot of teams, I think last year, what was it, like 9 through 6 was like a game and a half at one point, half game.
That sounds about right.
So I think it's just going to be something along those lines again, and teams will, one night Brooklyn falls to Indiana on one fluke night where Miami beat, Philly on another fluke night, and then Miami jumps from 9 to 4. Something like that. Not dramatic 5 seed jump, but it's going to be tight.
So real quick, I want to backtrack real quick. You have Toronto at 4.
Yes.
So are you really high on Pascal Siakam?
I am pretty high on Pascal Siakam. He, from what I've been reading about him and getting this deal done, is he is looking basketball now, Toronto, NBA, but also beyond that too. And I think that just brings good energy and good vibrations to him and what he's going to do with Serge Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry on his new little contract extension. Marc Gasol came back. I think they have a lot of good pieces. And like I said, the East, it's going to be one of those tight game and a half game separating.
So are you not concerned they're going to sell some of those pieces because they're not title contenders right now, like Marc Gasol?
I mean, in realistic terms, they're not title contenders without or with those players or without those players. They're
a trade away from a title contender.
Are they, though? Who are they going to get for an aging Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol? You'd have to trade away a Pascal Siakam or Fred VanVleet, one of your
OG.
cores.
OG.
Yeah.
That might pair OG with a draft pick. You never know.
Unless I don't think they trade OG either. Unless you can get a team.
If you're getting a star, yeah, you trade OG.
But are you getting a star in trading with OG?
I mean, they found a way to get Kawhi. I'm just saying.
How about this?
So do you have Toronto missing the playoffs, Marcell?
No, I have them making the playoffs.
OG on an
just not as high
and a draft pick for Kevin Love.
But does that make them title contenders?
No. I don't think Kevin Love fits into Toronto.
Exactly. Well, let's first
hold
on. Let's settle this right now, though. The NBA champion is coming from the Western Conference, correct? We all think that, though. Does anybody?
Mine is, but I don't.
Mine is.
You shouldn't sleep on
yeah.
them. You shouldn't sleep on the East.
But yours is too, Will?
Nope.
No, he's coming out the East. I wouldn't sleep on the Eastern Conference.
I'm not
teams.
sleeping on the Eastern Conference teams, but I just think 1 through 4, respectively, in the West are title contenders.
I have more than that. So we'll get to the West.
Yeah.
So okay. So I have Brooklyn at 5. I don't know how many games Kyrie's going to play, but I do think they're a really good team, a really deep roster. I just think, I think the Heat and Nets will be close, very close all year. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. But I don't think they're as talented as the top 3 at all.
I got Indiana. I think they did what they needed to do this offseason as a small market team.
Yeah.
The East teams got better, and they had some sneaky good T.J. Warren, T.J. McConnell, Jeremy Lamb, Malcolm Brogdon, Justin Holiday. I like all
Justin
those.
and Aaron Holiday. They got the brothers on the team.
I like the roster, and I'm also big on Goga Badate. I think he might be one of those Euro guys who comes in and makes
I think
an impact.
they might stash him.
This season, yes, but in the future, I think I like what their organization is doing as a small market team to be consistently. And if they make the playoffs again, it's just great on them.
Miles Turner is going to be runner-up defensive player of the year.
Interesting. Well, I can see it. Who's your 5, Will?
Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah, I think they do make a drop off with Kawhi, obviously, but I think they still stay in that mix of the mid-tier Eastern Conference team. Pascal's good. I mean, they have a lot of deep players. They've made playoff runs now together, and I think that just makes them a stronger team and can play through adversity better. So,
and I feel like with Toronto going forward, this season is more of a development of Nick Nurse, and is he your coach of the future to ensure that last year wasn't just like a whole Kawhi fluke to an extent?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like can you actually believe in this man to get back to that championship form at some point with the roster that you've managed to put together?
So that actually leads into my 16 because my 6th seed is Toronto. I do think Toronto and Pascal Siakam are still talented enough to make the playoffs, especially in the Eastern Conference. In fact, I think they'll be right there with Miami and Brooklyn in that 4 or 5, 6 seed. I think that could be switched around. But I think losing Kawhi is that's a huge piece to lose, and I think they're going to take a step back from that. And plus, Kyle Lowry's getting older. He's already suffering a few injuries from the summer. So
his back, his hand.
So yeah, but I wouldn't want to play them in the first round. I still think they would be a tough out.
Who would you be your first round matchup? Toronto, Boston.
That's and I think that'd be a very good matchup.
I have that exact same 6 seed and 3 seeds. So.
Yeah.
I got Brooklyn at 6 here. You know, I think they were the 7 seed.
Brooklyn
was
year? 6 seed last year.
Seed, yeah. So I don't think they make a huge jump. I mean, I think losing D'Angelo and replacing him with Kyrie is gonna make the team better, but I think the rest of the East also got better. So I think they just make a little bit of jump.
I think DeAndre Jordan's also gonna play it. He's gonna be good.
DeAndre Jordan was not that good last year.
But
he was in New York.
You think he's gonna come off the bench?
I think
he'll start.
Jared Allen might make a case for being a better player, but I don't think. I just think that it takes them a little bit of time to figure it out. It's a lot of new pieces, and I think teams like Toronto and the teams above them have already gelled very well, and they've played together, and it's a pretty new roster for me. So I got Brooklyn at 6.
Yeah, that's respectable.
Who you guys got 7?
Got Miami.
Jimmy Butler, man.
Respecting General Soreness.
Yeah, I mean, I think he gets you to that 40 win. The team with Jimmy Butler gets you 40, 45 wins.
He had the Wolves at a 3 seed.
Yeah, I mean,
West.
I think I have.
There was Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah,
he doesn't have
who.
I like some of the pieces Miami has. Tyler Herro's obviously made a lot of noise in the preseason.
I really like Tyler Herro.
He's had a big showing in summer league and preseason. I'm a huge fan of Bam Adebayo. I actually have him as my most improved player. I'll say that right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think he takes a big leap forward without Hassan Whiteside. I think not having Hassan Whiteside on the team is actually going to help the team. And, yeah, I think they slide into that 7 seed.
Yeah, I can respect that. I have Indiana at 7. I think they're going to start slow. I think just because there's more – I just think there's just a lot more talented teams without Victor Oladipo. But I think they'll be good enough to stay in the playoff race. And then once they get him back, he'll take them to another level, and they'll be able to get back in there and get that 7 seed. Because, honestly, I think – my top 7 are significantly better than my 8, but I think Indiana will still fight there. Again, that's another team I wouldn't want to face in the first round. Now, Sixers would be an interesting matchup for them because then you argue to start Sabonis and Miles Turner in that case. So that could be a very interesting match. And then Brogdon, how tall is Malcolm Brogdon? Because he would match up with Ben Simmons.
6'6". They also have Kyle O'Quinn.
They have a lot of good players.
Kyle O'Quinn.
I mean,
O'Quinn.
I feel like he could do enough
Warren.
defensively and rebounding.
TJ Warren is solid. Horrible defender, but solid scorer.
To keep him at bay. Enough off the glass.
So yeah, Pacers are my 7.
My 7 is Orlando Magic, the other Florida
making
team.
a jump.
Making a jump.
No, they got 7 last year.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Toronto was 2, yeah.
Pistons made the 8th seed last year.
And that's going to be a return for Marcell Fultz to play them in the playoffs.
Philly.
Yeah.
Ooh. How many games could you see that going?
6.
6? You think Marcell gets 6?
It could.
I think Orlando would be lucky to get one.
Yeah.
In that matchup.
I don't know. I like their defense. I like their Aaron Gordon matches up well, and so does Vucevic down with Embiid.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
true.
I agree. They're definitely. I mean, they're a solid team. They're that team that's good enough to make a low tier playoff teams, but isn't good enough to get over the hump.
And
I think
defensively, they're gonna win games in the regular season.
That's true.
because-
I think they would be one of the best defensive teams
yeah,
in the league next year.
I have them in my 8th seed. I think it's hard for me. This was a tough one for me because I really like the Pistons, and I think when you look at the Pistons teams, they didn't lose anyone from last year. They actually added Derrick Rose, which I think is a great addition for them because that's really a player that they kind of needed, somebody that can just spark offense for them off the bench.
In 55 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're going to sit him a lot.
That's about as many. How about this? Derrick Rose will give you about as many games as Anthony Davis gives the Lakers.
Ooh. That's a bold
You
statement.
heard it here first. Is it though?
I like it.
Is that more
Based on what we saw last year?
Is that more not having faith in Anthony Davis or having more faith in Derrick Rose?
I think it's not having faith on Anthony Davis. I think let's be realistic about Anthony Davis's career and how many games he plays a year. You know, I mean, we can check it out right now, but it's he's missing games every year, and it's affecting the team. You know.
As they look that up, my 7 team is actually Indiana. And for the record, my 7 through 10 in both the East and the West, I think are very interchangeable and intertwinable, just based on
That's why we have the
records.
honorable mention.
Okay.
Percentages.
So in
and such.
2016 and in 2017, Anthony Davis played 75 games, and that was the most he gave you. Other than that, the most was 68. So he gives you only twice in his year he's played more than 70 games. So I think he's going to probably miss. You can expect him to miss about 15 games a year at this point in his career. Is that fair?
Okay.
Yeah, something.
So you think Derrick Rose will give you more than 60 games?
But he's playing less minutes, obviously. Derrick Rose is going to do it in about 16 to 18, while Anthony Davis is doing it in like 32 to 36.
Sure.
You know, so obviously it's different. But yeah, I think they play about the same number of games. And I think as we get into the West, I think the Anthony Davis injuries do affect the Lakers.
They both bring very different effects to their respective teams.
Yeah, but that was really hard for me, was leaving the Pistons out and having them as my honorable mention, the 9 seed, because I really do like them. They're a tough team. I love Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin as their front court. I think Blake Griffin is so underrated. He is pretty underrated. He is absolutely. I mean, he has been one of the. This
new version of Blake.
Absolutely, and see, that's one of the things where I think people are so underappreciative of Blake Griffin is how much he has transformed his game to a ball handler and a shooter. Yeah. He is actually incredibly efficient now. From where he was to where he is now, he handles the ball. He gets assists. Mm-hmm. He shoots threes. I mean, come on, Blake Griffin is a shooter now.
So I'm very petty when it comes to basketball players I like and dislike, and I can't give her Blake Griffin winning the dunk contest in LA
because he jumped a car.
He jumped a car.
Come on,
it was like the 6th best dunk of the night, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Blake Griffin has absolutely transformed his game to be able to be
to have that wasn't even a dunk either. He like threw it from.
He changed his game to have a long, sustainable career in the NBA, which is what people were saying that he wouldn't be able to do.
Can't forgive him.
Yeah, he's actually has improved over the last 3 to 4 years. He's played more games.
Once he gives his dunk contest trophy to DeMar DeRozan, like he rightfully deserves, I will acknowledge that.
That's funny.
But it's actually funny because I have the Pistons in my AC.
Yes, that was so hard for me. And, honestly, I
forget them. They waved
as
Joe
I'm
Johnson.
saying this right now, I'm like, I might want to flip Magic to that 9. But, no, I'm going to stick with it and have Pistons as their honorable mention.
It's okay.
So
Hawks as a close second in the honorable mention. They're going to be fun, but I don't think they're better than those teams that have been there before and have won games.
Are we at 8 or honorable mentions?
We're at 8.
We're at 8.
8?
We can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
just
No,
knock
yeah.
them both
We'll do both.
It was
Obviously.
so close for me, so I had to say that.
My 8 seed is the General Soreness, the Miami Heat.
Just not. You just assume Jimmy Lee's team's the ACs now.
Yes. That's all he can do.
So
Because he's going to get hurt. Jimmy
Yeah,
Butler
you're
at this
probably
point in his
right.
career
You're
is
probably
bound
right.
to miss 20, 25 games. They
I
could
don't
be.
know about 25.
I mean, let's see.
So my AC is Detroit because, again, even though I'm salty and still don't like Blake Griffin, I can acknowledge the talent he has.
Jimmy Butler has one nickname, too.
But I actually really like the Derrick Rose edition. If they are smart with how they play him and don't just keep trying to throw him out there like the Timberwolves did as many games as they can, I think he could really help them throughout the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And Andre Drummond is going to go down as one of the greatest rebounders of all time. So as long as he is on the court, you are more than likely going to have more possessions.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because he is going to snatch those rebounds.
Jimmy Butler played 65 games last year between Minnesota and Philly.
Yeah, but how many?
He chose to sit out 11 in Minnesota.
Yeah.
He played 59 the year before in Minnesota, then 76 his last year in Chicago, and 67, 65, 67. He's only played 82 games once. So that was his second year.
And he didn't start. He only started 20. But and then my honorable mention, I couldn't decide between the Hawks and the Magic. So I think the Hawks are gonna be so fun to watch. I think they're too young to be a playoff team.
They're a year away.
I think they're a year. I think they're a year away from becoming a playoff team. I still have concerns about their defense. I don't know who on that team is going to be a good defender. And Orlando, I think, is going to have a top 10 defense. I just don't know where they're going to get consistent scoring from. I mean, Vukovic, I could totally see possibly stepping up, but
Evan Fournier.
Yep.
But I don't. But they don't really have a go-to scorer, and I just think
agree.
you need that. I think you really need
Yeah,
that.
I agree. Like their game plan at when they need a final shot is toss it to Evan Fournier, and I agree they need to do better than that. It's worked against the Wolves though.
Unfortunately,
Don't remind me.
My 8th seed it was so hard to pick between my 8s and my honorable mention, but I'm going with Atlanta with my 8th seed.
Yeah, I'm glad one of us went with them
for the culture.
It was just it was.
Think of the Migos album if they made the playoffs.
I like the rookies. I think the rookies will be good. I think a young team together will be good. I want to see Vince Carter in the playoffs one more time. And I
one
think
more Vince Carter dunk in the playoffs.
They're good enough to do it. Miami. It was really hard to keep Miami and Detroit out, but I don't know. Miami's just Justice Winslow running point guard. I just don't know what.
It's going to be a good defensive team.
It's going to be a good defensive team. You're right about that.
Giannis versus Trae Young, round 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah. I want it. All right, let's move to what I assume will be very controversial.
Yeah, I have
Western.
two. Sorry, my honorable mentions of the East are Orlando and Atlanta. Yeah. Again, 7.
Everyone has the same 10.
Yeah, 7 through 10, very intertwinable for me.
All right, so the Western Conference.
The battle.
I can't wait to hear. I think I would not be surprised if all 4 of us have a different number 1 seed.
Probably.
Yeah, I think we might. Let's.
Ready? Am I leading off?
Yeah.
Go ahead, lead it off.
Returning to his MVP form, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors.
Number 1?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I think they have a very similar year to that 72-win season. Not saying they get 72 wins, but it's very similar. They're just like cash.
Okay.
So, my only reason I don't agree with you, I think they're going to miss Klay Thompson early. I think that's going to be defensively. So that's my biggest concern about missing Klay Thompson.
Yeah, he does rebound the ball well, too.
Yeah, D'Lo and Steph can shoot, but
can
mismatch,
play enough defense?
Especially in the West.
Yeah.
So my number 1 seed is actually the Denver Nuggets.
Get him out of here.
You know, and actually last year, a guy before the season told me on Facebook that the Denver Nuggets would get the number 2 seed, and I laughed in his face. And honestly, if I was him, I would have screenshot that and tagged me in as soon as Denver clinched the number 2 seed because I totally whiffed on Denver last year. I'm not going to make that mistake again this year.
Put some respect
I
on their
think
name.
they're basically bringing the whole team back, adding Michael Porter Jr. I think they believe they can go on a title run. I don't know if they win the title, but I think they're just going to coast through the regular season. They have one of the best home court advantages in basketball.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to go in there and win. So I think Denver's my number 1.
That's also my number 1.
Ooh.
I think Nikola Jokic has 20-plus triple-doubles this year, the first center to do it since Wilt Chamberlain.
That'd be absurd.
I didn't even
See
know
it?
Wilt did that.
And, yeah, he's actually the only one at center. But,
Well, Cat will join him this year.
yeah, I like the Jeremy Grant addition. And, same guys coming back. Drafted Bull. I don't know if he'll be
A factor.
at all this year. But Mike Malone's a great coach.
He's a pretty good coach.
Well, actually, it's not as different as I thought it would be because I actually also had the Golden State Warriors as the number 1 seed. I can
That's
fist bump
hilarious.
to that. I also agree. I think the Warriors really kind of rally this year.
Yeah.
I think they respond to all the criticism of everyone's kind of saying that they're a team that's going to drop off a lot without Klay Thompson. I mean, they got D'Angelo Russell. I think Willie Cauley-Stein is going to be so good for that team.
He'll be like the
He'll be
JaVale McGee.
but I think he'll be even better for that. I think it'll be
Sure.
really, really good for that team. They're going to find a way to, Marquise Chris and Alec Burks
Yeah.
are going to be great players
Yeah.
for them.
They will.
It's just they're a great coach team.
I think they're
Curry,
deeper than last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stephen
Honestly.
Curry returns to MVP form. I mean, not returns to MVP form, but people are reminded again of Steph Curry, and I predict that Steph Curry breaks his 402 3-pointers record.
Exactly. And
Not by a lot, but I think he breaks it.
spoiler alert, my deep way is Draymond Green, too. And I think because they'll be lacking Klay Thompson, he will step up and be a bigger force
Mm-hmm.
on the
Yeah,
defensive
I
end.
just think they're a team that just is going to rally this year, and they're just going to play so well this year, and they're just going to win high 60
Do you think
games.
not having Kevin Durant will also make the offense just like, okay,
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
They're
'cause
gonna
he
flow
demands
better.
the ball. KD for the most part.
which
for
he
as
does,
great
which
as
he
is,
deserves, which
Yeah.
he's earned that right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. I'm not disputing that he shouldn't be doing that. Like, Carmelo Anthony shouldn't be doing that. KD can do this. He's allowed to.
The offense is just going to flow so well still.
Mhm.
It's just going to be so well ran. Steph Curry is he is so crafty. He moves so much. So many screens set on that offense, and I have them my number 1 seed.
Solid. All right, who we got at 2?
Let it fly, Houston Rockets. I'll give them that. I do think Russell Westbrook and James Harden both missed time at some points, along with Clint Capella. But for the most part, I think they play well enough. They, stay their Houston brand basketball, let it fly, and they'll just get their way with 2 MVPs to the number 2 seed.
I feel it. So I actually went with the Clippers. I think Jake, you're smiling like
Because you got like a whole same picks as me.
I think the Clippers. I think they're gonna be really good this year, even with Paul George possibly missing time and Kawhi possibly choosing to sit out. But I think the rest of that team is super solid. I am a little concerned about their depths at center. I think that could be a possible concern because besides Harold, Zubac, I just don't think highly of as a great defensive center. And
No,
I think,
he's slow.
and so I think they can get exposed down low.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with Kawhi Leonard, I think he's going to possibly be in the MVP conversation. But I don't think he'll win it. That's not my winner. But yeah, I think Clippers will be really good, especially when they get PG back and Doc Rivers coaching. They're going to be great.
They're going to be solid.
I agree. I don't know what else to say.
2, I have the Nuggets. I think they're right where they were last year. I don't think, I don't think the addition of Michael Porter Jr. really kicks them anywhere. But anywhere that they haven't already gone.
Yeah.
I still think they're a year away and another playoff loss of gaining experience before they really get over that hump.
And is Jamal Murray elite? Is he good? Are we
They
sold
paid
on
him like he's elite.
Yeah.
He's at times during first stretches he is.
Like shooting threes after the game's over to get a new career high.
Yeah, I like
Or getting drafted after Tresdon.
Ugh.
Yeah, I like that team at too. They're going to win a lot of games, but I don't think they get over the hump and get to the. I don't have them in the Western Conference Finals actually.
I don't either,
Yeah.
but they're my number 1 seed.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
they're number 2. Another team like Boston, I kind of think they're just very well coached. They have very solid players,
Yeah.
but they're going to be a regular season team,
Mhm.
and they get that 2 seed. So, yeah,
Number 3 in the West for me. Kawhi and the Clippers.
Solid.
I think Kawhi, doesn't play as many games like he did last year.
Does he need
PG's
to?
out. They don't need to.
exactly.
Doc Rivers is coaching again. They got a good, solid roster. You don't need to.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. Just make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So my 3, I have the MVP duo down in Houston. I am a little concerned about how Westbrook is going to fit into this offense. Now he's still going to be dynamic. They're too talented to not be one of the better teams in the West.
Yeah.
I'm still I'm concerned because one, I know it's just preseason, but Westbrook has not looked good in preseason. I still think he's trying to I think he's still trying to find himself and find a rhythm. So I think they're going to lose some games early, but again, they're way too talented to not be a solid regular season team.
I got the other team from Los Angeles.
Oh, our first Laker.
Yeah,
Our first Lakers.
But this is
Boo.
gonna be real Anthony Davis dependent.
I agree.
How many games does he play? LeBron obviously can win with whoever's on the court.
But can he still?
Depends.
Still?
Against the East, yeah.
Yeah. But could he do that in the West without an AD?
I mean, they were a 4 seed before he got injured.
And with what they had, but did they improve the roster
Wait.
around him?
But they were a 4 seed before Lonzo got injured. Don't forget.
Oh my goodness!
I have
the best defensive point guard in the league.
I want to talk about Lonzo later.
Yeah, later. Tristan.
I've got the Clippers, my 3 seed.
Yeah.
I think they just got better players, and they didn't really lose a whole lot. I mean, they kept their core players that made the team what they were last year, I think.
Yeah. And added Kawhi.
Yeah, and added Kawhi. I mean, come on.
And PG.
And PG. So, yeah, I think they're going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be a stacked team. I think good defense, good coach. So,
yeah. I feel like the controversy doesn't get in the West as controversial as you think until near the end. But my 5 seed is the Lakers.
we're at 4.
4?
Yep.
Lakers. Oops.
You got Lakers at 4?
Yeah.
Solid. 8 LeBron.
Yeah.
AD.
LeBron.
I actually have the Utah Jazz at 4. I think they're going to be.
that.
I think they're going to be really great defensively. I think Donovan Mitchell will take another level here.
I like that.
I went with Houston Rockets.
It's a
Yeah.
MVP duo.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Jake, on that. I did see what you were saying about Russell Westbrook wasn't playing that well. It kind of looked like they weren't playing together. James Harden, it seemed like they were playing separately on the court.
And
I think it's going to be a slow start for them.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to gel very well later on. I think they will find a way to make it work.
It's just too much talent for me on a team.
It's too hard to guard both of them.
So I got them at 3.
It's just so much talent for me. So, yeah, coming at the 5 seed, I have the utterly always disrespected Portland Trailblazers. I think they're just
it was so hard for me to get.
Yeah.
I got them in the pot. It was so hard for me to find a spot.
But I have them at number 5. I think a lot of people would like to have them lower, but they're one of those players. Every single year they do better than we expect them to do. Every single year. Year in, year out. They outperform expectations. I think Terry Stotts is a great coach, finds a way to make the Hassan Whiteside trade work. And I think with Nurkic coming back, I think that's a great addition for him, and I think they have another great season this year.
Nice. 6?
5. Who you got 5?
Jeez. Denver.
Denver. Wow, you're just not high on Denver.
Interesting.
It's not that I'm not high on Denver. It's like I said about the East records and winning percentages are going to be awfully close.
Mm-hmm.
Like how the West has kind of been traditionally the last couple of years. We've been seeing this trend of number 2 and number 7 are only separate by 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something along those lines. Like, God, the Timberwolves were in the playoff hunt until like the last 2 weeks of the regular season, just because we had kept winning enough and stayed competitive enough that, and it was only like 5.5 games between 5 and I think 8 or 9 at one point.
Yeah, I have Golden State at 5. I think they're going to miss Klay Thompson early, and I think they're just going to – they'll be off to a very okay start, and then once they get him back, they'll really start rolling and climb back up.
I got Utah.
Solid
defensive team. So I actually have Lakers all the way down at 6.
Yep.
I actually agree. I think Anthony Davis is going to miss some time. I also think LeBron is going to sit out some games as well, and I think they're going to get off to a slow start. Plus, they have an old roster.
They do.
Outside of Kyle Kuzma.
They really do. I mean, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard,
JaVale
McGee. The list goes on.
Jared
Dudley. It's a very old roster. I like that at 6.
7?
6.
We're at 6.
6. Man. It's because my spreadsheet's all messed up and everything. Portland.
Yeah. I think you gotta put him in there somewhere.
Damian Lillard's just good enough. CJ McCollum's just good enough. I don't know if Hassan Whiteside makes them better.
I don't think he makes them worse though.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Dame and CJ get you into the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard's an MVP candidate every year at this point in his career.
Mm-hmm.
At 6, I have Utah Jazz. I'm a big fan of that squad. Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles. He recently just signed a 1-year extension, $14 million. So got his money. Yeah,
the reigning depoy.
Absolutely.
Somehow, someway, Rudy Gobert.
And Jake the rookie, who you got at 6?
I got the Golden State Warriors to match up with the Lakers in the playoffs. First round.
Yeah, I think that's disrespectful.
It's not a Steph hater. I honestly just something's gonna go wrong. I don't know if I don't wish anyone to get injured, but I can just see it happening.
I think they had that happen for them already, and that was the last year in the playoffs when they lost Clay and Durant.
True. 7, I have Portland. I know Portland's going to make the playoffs. I had no idea where to put them, so I honestly just threw them in at 7.
Yeah.
And then real quick, I also have San Antonio sneaking in, getting that 8 spot. I could not pick an honorable mention. At first, my honorable mention in the West was the Pelicans, but losing Zion 6 to 8 weeks, I think it's going to hurt them tremendously. And then I had the Timberwolves, but I don't buy into Andrew Wiggins, and so that's my biggest issue with him.
That's so funny.
So instead, I'm just gonna say Wolves, Mavericks, Pelicans, Thunder, Kings are all gonna be really close and fighting for that AC. But I think all those teams will just fall a little short.
So we're on 7 or 8.
Just go both 2.
Yeah, knock out 7, 8 in your honorable.
Oh, okay. 7 is Utah for me. Again, West, super tight, everything. 8. Let's do it. Minnesota Timberwolves. We're back, baby. Karl Anthony Towns MVP season. Andrew Wiggins will get his stuff.
We knew it.
He'll get his stuff figured out.
We knew it.
Robert Covington also makes a much bigger defensive impact along with Josh Okogie and Jared Culver. My honorable mention right away is Dallas. I will give him that, respect. I just don't know if they play good enough defense despite all their height. And then, again, Sacramento and who am I thinking of? They don't matter anymore. Sacramento are very tough outs, and it'll be very tight in the West. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so 7, I have the Lakers. I think everything we've been saying, I think Anthony Davis misses games. I think I'm with you, though. 7, 8. I don't think it's that. I think 8 to 2 is going to be all within tough. 5 or 6 games, but I think the Lakers kind of fall on the lower end of that. They have a very old team. I think it takes a while for them to gel. I mean, they have a new coaching staff, new team. It's literally new everything except for like LeBron and Kuzma. So I mean, it's a totally new team that they're going to take a while to gel, I think, but they figure it out, and I think maybe they make some moves by the trade deadline. But yeah, at the 7, 8 seed, I have San Antonio Spurs. You can't leave them out. Greg Pop. They got 2 all-star caliber players.
I'm not a hater. They just their game is old.
But it works.
Who's their best?
Sounds like a hater.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't matter who their best 3-pointer shooters.
Modern
There's
NBA.
Coach Popovich.
It's Coach Pop.
Finds a
Coach.
way.
Yeah,
and then
they got bumped out in the USA
that was
FIBA
disappointing.
tournament.
Yeah, and then honorable mention. I think I really wanted to put them in the playoffs with the Sacramento Kings. They won 39 games last year.
They paid Buddy.
I think they're a team. I mean, you look at them; they have a bunch of players who are ready to make a jump. De'Aaron Fox, Bojanovic, Buddy Hield.
They did not pay him.
Marvin Bagley's on the come up. Who knows what's going to happen with Harry Giles? He could become a good player. They got Trevor Ariza. They still got Harrison Barnes. So they got a lot of solid players.
Ariza.
Yeah, the ultimate 3-and-D player.
He won't be there.
So yeah, I like. It was again tough for
what's
me to leave
happening.
him out, but yeah, I have him at the 9 seed.
Yeah, my 7 and 8 are just teams that always make the Western Conference playoffs. Portland and San Antonio.
Yeah.
Jake,
Just-
yours and mine are very similar.
Yeah.
Not a lot of controversy.
And honorable mention, Sacramento. And if OKC doesn't blow up and actually plays, I think they have a good shot to win almost 40,
All
if
right.
not 40.
Let's do some quick fire. Who's meeting in the finals? Who wins? Tresdon.
Who's what in the finals and what?
Who's meeting in the final? Who wins?
I'm gonna say the Clippers and the Bucks are in the finals, and Kawhi beats Giannis again.
That's exactly what I have down here too. I also got Clippers over the Bucks. Kawhi Leonard, Finals MVP.
I also have the Clippers, but I have them beating the Sixers.
Okay.
I have the Sixers beating the Golden State Warriors.
You
for
know,
the NBA championship.
Warriors were definitely. Warriors are very. I have the Clippers beating the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals in a close series.
Oh yeah.
I just think Kawhi's going to make Embiid cry for a second time.
All right, and then let's do quick fire awards. MVP.
Giannis Antetokounmpo going back to back. I think his 3-point percentage just goes up just enough to make him much bigger impact on the court than he was last year. Thus MVP again, because when you get better as an MVP, you probably should be MVP again, unless somebody just blows that out of the way. Steph Curry shoots like 55% from 3.
I have Steph Curry. I think he's gonna have a better year than his MVP year.
I think he'll have a great year though too.
I got Nikola Jokic, like
Solid.
I said.
That's my number 2.
Joker.
It's my, number 1 in the West, Denver Nuggets, and 20-plus triple-doubles. So.
Yeah.
KG Lake.
I'm with you, Marcell, on Steph Curry. I think, like I said earlier, he breaks his record of 402 3-pointers made in a season. Plays better than he's ever played in his career. Remind people who he is and why he's one of the greatest players ever.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Draymond Green makes a return to Depoy. Finally stops getting snubbed, and Golden State plays good team basketball, defensive style, and gets the number 1 seed.
I went with Joel Embiid.
Good.
But I think the other way he gets it, if he gets a 75-plus games. If he does that, I think he wins it.
I went with last year's MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Ooh, solid.
That's solid.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with – this was a tough one for me, but I'm actually going to go with the repeat of Rudy Gobert.
Oh,
I can't
The
disagree with you.
three-peat?
is he gonna cry?
Yeah, he might
himself
cry.
into it?
So
Yeah, he could. I think the Stifle Tower.
He's overrated.
Rookie of the Year. Okay, Zion's out 6 to 8 weeks, so this might change some stuff.
RJ Barrett. I think Zion will be 2 months behind the NBA speed, the NBA pace, the NBA style, the physicality. RJ Barrett will be 2 months in, fresh face of the New York Knicks. He will be the man there. Throw him to the fire, throw him to the wolves, and he'll figure it out as he's going.
All right. I originally had Zion. I'm gonna just throw it out there and say Jared Culver. I think he's gonna be the third best player on the Wolves after Cat and Robert Covington.
Right on. Oh.
I went with Rui Hachimura.
Ooh, dark horse.
I think he has a great opportunity to get a lot of minutes and be effective. Get the numbers he needs.
I like that. That was actually my second. I think he's going to get runner-up. I think he has a huge opportunity. Also, speaking of the Wizards, did anyone notice that John Wall was now listed higher or taller than Bradley Beal?
Wow,
Yeah.
That's funny.
Bradley Beal's only 6'3".
What?
he's
Yeah.
playing it too.
That's like 2
Donovan
inches.
Donovan
I know,
Mitchell
right?
is
It's
about
pretty
that,
interesting about that team. But I'm going to go with RJ Barrett. I think he plays the most minutes, takes the most shots, makes the most field goals. Might not be the most efficient, but I think he's going to average 17, 18 points a game and secure
which
it
will
up.
be good enough for this rookie class.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last three, not as important. Coach of the year, I have Doc Rivers, Clippers 2 seed. I think it'll be great. Most improved, Lonzo Ball, man. It's the Steph Curry with the 40-inch vertical. Shout out to Mike Korzimba. I think Lonzo Ball's gonna go to another level, and then six-man Lou Will.
My coach of the year is Steve Kerr. Golden State regular season, getting back to that form. My most improved player actually is Andrew Wiggins, thus the 8th seed. What were the other two categories you said?
Six man.
Six man of the year, Jarrett Culver.
Ooh, I think he'll start.
Man, Trez loves the Wolves.
I know.
Why?
We'll do a Wolves segment next week.
And then GM of the year?
No, I didn't do GM.
Coach.
I did coach.
Yeah.
No, I think you're good.
I'm done. Good night.
All right. Coach of the year, I got Mike Malone, Denver, number 1 in the West. Most improved player, I'm going to have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's going to get a lot more offensive opportunities and run great pick and roll with Steven Adams if they keep him. And six man, I can't vote against Lou Will.
True.
Is it your Hammer Van Vliet?
Derrick Rose could be a dark horse.
Yeah,
I agree.
He was last. I mean, if he had played more games last year, I think he's gonna.
Yeah. Now people know what we're gonna
get
out of Derrick Rose.
Coach of the year, I was originally going with Mike Malone, but I think I realized, if I'm putting Golden State at number 1, I gotta put Steve Kerr.
Yeah. So
Coach of the year. Put some respect
right.
on Steve Kerr's name. He's
Does
gonna
he have a Coach of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He won the first.
Yep.
He won the first 2.
Most improved player, Bam Adebayo. I think he shows out as a clear-cut second best player on that Miami team. And then six man of the year, Domantas Sabonis, just got paid.
Ooh,
Yeah, I think he stays healthy this year and is a really good six man for that team.
that's solid. We
Yeah.
got ourselves a solid show. I
Yeah.
like that. This is
That wraps up our NBA prediction.
yeah. Tresdon Harris at Tradedy_19. Maple Jordan season. Please. Signing off.
It's not gonna happen, dog.
Oh man.
Yo, this is Marcell, a.k.a. @Styles_Rap is life. Cat's MVP season. I know I didn't pick him to be my MVP, but I think he can get there. Also, I think Cleveland Cavs have the worst record in the league. They're going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Jake the Rookie from across the plane. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, and last but not least, it is Will. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys. Find me at Trill Steenson. Again, make sure you follow the socials, and make sure you stay in for next week.
Good night.